Yeah, California girls are the most. Okay, California guys are the most, too. I'm Cindy Dole. This is Home Wizards, where we talk about what can be the most in your home and garden. Here on Home Wizards, the number is 888-KFWB-980, 888-539-2980. And you'll want to keep it handy because soon we're going to be talking with the winner of HGTV's Design Star. She's excited. We're going to hear all about the fun and what happened behind the scenes and the new show that premieres tomorrow and all that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about that little tiny bathroom of yours, because I think that you probably have one. We do. We have this little half bath that we actually were very bold with, and later we'll hear what Emily has to think about that. But a lot of times people think, oh, if you have a small space, you've got to go with light colors, right? Well, maybe not necessarily. A lot of my designer friends encouraged me to go bold, and I did. And can I tell you, I love this. We have this very rich, deep, kind of a periwinkle color. It's deeper than your regular small half bath. There's just a toilet and kind of barely a sink, and there it is. And so what we've done with it is not only infuse that deep color, but then we have about a dozen of these framed mirrors in very fun, different shapes of gold-rimmed frames. You know, you've probably seen that before. Nothing really excitingly surprising from that. But the trick is, whenever you have a small space, is the illusion of creating more, right? And so that adds more light. We have a little mini chandelier above, and we're just loving that small space. But for those of you who might be able to have more time, more money, and more flexibility, you might consider physically moving where the toilet is or moving where the sink and shower is. Now, that might sound kind of overwhelming because that entails having to do some little plumbing work, right? Then if you can't do that, you might want to then just instead think of some of these things, like the medicine cabinet. You know, everyone thinks about that old medicine cabinet that you might have grown up with. I saw, again, another designer that instead turned that out and cut into the wall and created like a little nook and cranny space. And now instead it's covered up with a beautiful wooden framed mirror that has a hinge, and then it opens up, and so it's completely flush with the wall. And that opens up, and that becomes not only artwork, but it is your little storage space for toiletries. And of course, before we even do that, we've got to downsize our stuff. You know how many toiletries we have, right? I mean, it's like between the bathroom and the kitchen and the cleaning supplies, we have too much stuff. Another great idea, speaking of doors, I've been to several of these home trade shows. The one at Dwell sticks out in my mind recently. And they're showing a lot of these glass doors that are privacy glass. You know, it might be a sliding glass, it might be an interior wall. And you can really, don't be afraid to use that as your small bathroom door, because no one can see in and no one can see out, but it gives you that illusion of light and makes you feel like it's just this fresher, larger space and a little more appeal to that little tiny loo of yours. And then in terms of flooring, a great secret that I've seen is to use white subway tiles. Something about the freshness of the white subway tiles, and then no matter how rich or deep the color of the walls and everything else in that room, it really seems to give you the feeling you look down and then you look up, and it looks all of a sudden like it's a bigger room. And then also I've seen in some of these small bathrooms where they use the beaded board wainscoting, and that, or with the porcelain pedestal sink, and those features combined, again, trick the eye into making you feel like it's this bigger bathroom when it's really no more than this little tiny space, and then adding some great bling, whether it's a little chandelier or some fun little hardware fixtures to the sink or to the cabinetry. And oh, by the way, I love built-in shelves that create a clutter-free solution. I found this one that I saw in the IKEA catalog, and it has, again, that use of that kind of soft glass, the ribbed glass that covers over these little cubbyhole cabinets, and you insert it into the wall, and all of a sudden you have the illusion of more space, but instant storage for all your toiletries. It's just a beautiful thing. And don't forget the shower. If you have this very, very small shower and it's inside the tub, consider a curved bar for the shower curtain. I've seen this done, and what it does is it makes you, when you're inside the shower, feel like you have a more spacious bathroom. And again, it's a wonderful thing. All right, well, let's segue into hour two because we have some more fun to talk about. Yes, she is a star. She's the new HGTV Design Star. So many things to discuss with Emily Henderson. You probably saw her crowned this week on TV. Her new show debuts tomorrow night, up against some other shows, but we want you to watch Emily. And we're going to hear about her design philosophy, which is very cool. That and more next. This is Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole, hour two, right now.
Request is too extreme. Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
Hi Hi there, Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards, your radio home for all things home, garden, and life improvement. This is the place where we hope that you'll get the ideas and the information and that kind of aha moment to do, whether it's little things or big things or maybe nothing at all, just a way to figure out how to enjoy your home more, as a result, enjoy your life. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you're hired doner, we got you covered here. The number is 888-KFWB-980, 888-539-2980. And coming up here in the next hour, have you been watching HGTV? I even saw the rerun of it again last night. They're showing it over and over because it was a big moment in the life of Emily Henderson and, of course, all those other great designers who competed on Design Star. It is the show that has been, for the past many seasons, bringing designers together, competing, really, for that chance to not only show off that they've got some stuff, they have a great idea, but that they should be able to host their own TV show. And last season it was Antonio Ballatore, and now, this new star, Emily, so we're talking with her in just a second. I love all of her fun, very eclectic ideas on how to really come up with some great solutions and not necessarily spend a lot of money. I mean, she's into the GW, the Goodwill. And so we'll talk about that. And then we have just some more fun ideas for you. But now remember, as you're listening, and you hear something that you didn't catch all of it and you wanted to hear it again, and you wish you could share it with your friends on Facebook or YouTube, don't worry. We post everything up on the website at cindydole.com. Just go to the on-air section. And it's also at kfwb.com/Home Wizards. And then remember, too, that throughout the week, as you are anticipating, as I do, all those weekend to-dos, and maybe you have a question or you wanted to share something, I hope you'll participate in our new forum and chat. And you can find that also through the website. Just look up to the upper right. It says join the chat. And it's kind of a cool thing because, this exchange of information, much like Facebook, but focusing on the things that we love and care about the most, and that's the home and the garden. So check that out. All right, so let's get to my guest, whose name you'll be seeing a lot more of because, well, she's the new Design Star. Yes, she is beaming right now. Are you pinching yourself still, Emily?
Yeah, it's pretty weird, and it was such a huge secret to keep for so long.
You don't seem like you're the kind of person who would keep a secret to anybody.
I'm super transparent. I have no secrets even at all in the world.
I mean, you're a former 4-H'er, for goodness sakes.
How did you know that?
I
nice
did my
job.
research. I love 4-H'ers.
Me too. I want to bring it back.
But I mean, what kind of animal did you raise?
No, we did the domestic.
Okay.
That's not true. At one point we did have a sheep. My sister did the lamb scramble, and she, I think she was like 16, and she asked my parents if she could go in, and basically they let loose this little lamb and like however many 16-year-olds that want to, and she ended up getting it, and my parents were just like, oh, oops. So we had to raise it for however many years. Anyway, that's besides the point. But besides that, we just did the domestic 4-H, like the sewing and cooking and like recovering lampshades and cake decorating.
Well, doesn't that all relate to what you're doing now?
Yes, it does.
So all those days, that was back in Oregon, right?
Yep.
That's where you grew up.
Small town Oregon.
And so here it is, Emily Henderson from the days of 4-H in Oregon, and then you spent some time in New York, and then in between in LA and wherever, you've done a lot of this staging and propping for advertising and magazines and what we want to then buy, right?
Yep. It's called prop styling, and basically you create the environment around the product that you're selling. So for magazines, you're more selling like a lifestyle. You're selling, say, like a coastal beach house or whatever.
Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. It's very aspirational. And then for catalogs, you're selling the products, obviously, but kind of still a lifestyle. And then for advertising, it's all about selling that one pencil, and then creating like this office around it. So it's interesting because now I'm just going to be selling like me and style, and
but you know what? That all relates. That all kind of
Mm-hmm.
comes together, and this whole idea of prop styling, right, is kind of how your approach to design.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like design, the proper kind. You like it to really be our own personality.
I think that your space should reflect you, and I think that a lot of people, and I understand why they do this, but, you buy a house and you want to fill it, understandably, and so you go to a big box store and you buy everything at once, and it's fine, but it often doesn't look like you at all. And so my thing is you should be able to walk into the space and not say who designed your house, but man, you guys are really cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want, especially with like the house that I'm doing tomorrow night, I don't want people to walk into my friend's Ian's house and say who designed it. I want them to think that he did, because it looks so much like him. It's obvious, So that's kind of my philosophy.
So you want it to feel like really comfortable jeans.
Yeah, really lived in. Like
Yeah.
it just makes sense, you know? So, yeah.
And so here it is. This week we saw on TV, although you knew months ago, right, that you were the winner. So take us back to here it is. Well, first you're auditioning for the show. And what was that like to audition for the Design Star thing? And you're up against professionally trained designers, right?
Yeah, like
So you're
traditionally trained.
Traditionally, yeah.
Yeah. It was, I knew that if I got on, I wouldn't have went had I not thought I could win this show. But the second I started auditioning and I was up against, thousands of other people, and we got down to 60 that met in LA, and you looked around and everybody seemed like they knew what they were doing. And so it started to get intimidating at that point. And then it was like months later. I mean, so the vetting process was insane, but finally I get on and I blow the first challenge. I froze. It was like a nightmare. It's out of the movies. I mean, I felt like it was a nightmare. It was just wake me up, because I knew it. I just was freezing. It was terrible. So I almost went home. I was in the bottom 2, but the judges, basically we have a host off between the 2 people that did the worst. And my hosting was kept me in there, basically. It was better. So then I kind of just, the whole experience was very foreign and strange, and to compete for your career is a weird concept. I think I'm good at what I do in my own worlds, but then to do it in with cameras 24 hours around you and competing against all these other people, it's weird, So it took me a while to navigate it and to figure out what my strategy was going to be if I was going to have one at all. So it was really challenging. I mean, yeah.
But that's life, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, in the workplace, eventually you kind of do compete for your job. You kind of do just to compete to keep your job. I mean, it's a different level, right? I mean, cameras aren't rolling.
And there's not the personalities involved.
Right. You had
It's
over-the-top personalities. Everyone is like a star, right?
Well, everybody that went on the show thought that they deserved their own TV show. So just inherently, they were really big personalities. And I thought I had a big personality, but it was nothing compared to some of the others. But it was so exciting every single second, and there were so many surprises, and we never knew what we were going to be doing. So, there was times where it was very frustrating because you just wanted more information, or you wanted, there's constraints, obviously, like it's a production, so I can't go to the flea market, and that's where I wanted to go, But ultimately, the second I got home, I just wanted to go back. It's like war. It's like you get home, and then all of a sudden it's like, I kind of want to go back
You're
and do
addicted.
that again.
Yeah,
I was totally addicted.
You got the bug. I know. It's kind of a sickness, isn't it?
It was adrenaline rush for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I
That's
couldn't-
showbiz,
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we want to hear more about what you did. I love the final episode where you saw this room and how you turned the walls really into a man's beautiful suit jacket.
Oh, thank you.
It was so beautifully done, and it was a nice masculine touch to this guy that had kind of a hodgepodgey condo, a flat, apartment, whatever, and learn more about your design style. And, of course, we're going to talk about tomorrow's show. Your debut is having a star on the Walk of Fame. You're listening to Home Wizards. You can call in. Maybe you have a question about design. It's 888-KFWB 980, 888-539-2980. Cindy Dole, Home Wizards. We're back after this.